If things are going to change in this world, it's going to be because the people here change it.
Okay. So, from a certain point of view, those of us in the exopolitical world are seeing signals that are quite positive. Now, maybe we're looking at the world through rosy eyes, and maybe, we're straining to see the daisies coming up and the positive signs. But if I look at the people in various parts of the world, for example, South America, there's a great interest there. Now, there's part of the population that's not interested, but there's part of the population that is very interested. And I know that you have even more firsthand knowledge than I have, because you're down there a great deal in Peru and other parts. And I wondered if you could share with us what your views are about South America and how South America's moving that way.
Well, the people in Latin American countries, by and large, accept the fact this world's being visited, and most likely being visited by their ancestors, depending upon what culture you're discussing this with. If, for example, you're up in the mountains and speaking to the Quechua, they're going to tell you that, yeah, of course, the signs are all happening, they're taking place, and this is the time when the ancestors are coming back. Where do they come from? The Pleiades. If you talk to the people in the jungle, they have their own version of this, but it's the same. You talk to the people on the streets of Lima, they're not going to say, no, I don't believe in that, because they do. This information about UFOs is handled entirely with credibility. It isn't a skeptical eye that they're turning towards these reports. It is a curious one, because they want more information.
Right. So, taking that and the South American population, and taking the China population, which is open-minded, and the Chinese government is, there's some policies where they're allowing knowledge of that, and you're having open reporting of UFOs over major airports.
Mm-hmm. I've been
I'm just wondering
following that in
if,
the news.
i.e., the ET embargo is limited to one country in a way, and that's the U.S. as kind of the imperial power. But if we go around the world, the other parts of the world, the population has not bought into the American military empire in the same way that the American population, because that's its bread and butter, has done. And I'm just wondering if the fact that, and the American population is 5% of the world's population in an objective fashion. And I'm just wondering if that's not an avenue to kind of noodle our way through to, a world population that's conscious, especially now, where we have China coming up, Japan coming up, uh, uh, Europe coming up, all these other space powers. And, you can begin, I mean, there's a dialogue in Chile. They're teaching extraterrestrials in university. The Brazilian government is now checking out all the sightings. There, it's the people are, even here in Canada, is dropping out of the Afghan coalition in 2011. More people are dropping out of the war game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just giving a reflection that maybe the pendulum's starting to move the other way a little bit.
Well, and let's hope that it does. And you're right. If a larger world population can move into the direction of peace, then that would be a very good thing. The problem is that the Latin American countries, they are quite impoverished. Their voice is not heard as clearly as European or North American countries. And a lot of attention isn't paid when they see something, when they say something. It's usually in a not usually, but frequently it's in a denigrating term that in the back of their mind, back of our minds, they don't have much money. Their camera probably was crap. They're not very well educated. They don't know what they saw, and they're trying to make a buck on a fake UFO sighting. I mean, all these things I've heard. When you're down there, it's a much different story. People are telling stories that never make it up here, that never come across the borders. Fantastic stories, and I've been privileged to hear quite a number of them. They're ready for something positive and uplifting to take place. Their doubts are set aside. They know what they've seen. They know what their ancestors have seen. They know what their background historically is with this subject. So they're ready for some information to be released.
I'm just thinking of shifting over now to your capacities as a healer, and as an energy healer who can heal in person and who can heal remotely, and it is known throughout the literature with advanced extraterrestrials that healing is actually a big part of their lives. I mean, I've read this, and I'm just wondering, as a healer of some standing yourself in some extraordinary capacity, if you could just speak to how do you see this extraordinary healing capacity that you have as part of your identity as an extraterrestrial? Or I know that we all have the healing capacity within ourselves, but is this part of why you were brought here, because you have innate healing talents, you think?
Well, I don't think it's why I was brought here because I have that as a talent. I think that it is an aspect of who I am. It's just something else that I do. The understanding that I have in regards to healing, it's rather difficult to put into words. But in a nutshell, I basically see things people don't see. I look inside the body as though it were a fish tank at times, and I see things that shouldn't be there, or things that are there that aren't correctly functioning or whatever. And with the power of intention, I focus energy, the same energy that runs through you or your wife or anyone that you know, but I focus it down and I change things. And the way that I change it is by moving it backwards or forwards through time so I can see it in a different way, and then taking something away or adding something to it to make it whole. That's where the greatest benefit comes from.
Right. Well, you've been very gracious with us, and we're coming to the end of this segment, and we certainly hope that you'll be able to join us again in the future. I know that we're at a really sort of razor's edge moment in history, and I'm kind of rooting for a positive future, and one in which
So am I.
it's not a hell. It's not just 2 or 3 people in there in this chat room. So what messages would you have for our audience to sort of bring people into a positive future?
Well, first off, and your audience is probably already aware of this, but you're not alone in the universe. There are others out there who look very much like yourselves, and they want the best for you. But in order for you to achieve the best that you can receive, you're going to have to do something different than what you've already done in order to achieve it. Because obviously, the things you've done collectively have not worked as well as you might have hoped. The second thing is to find some truth in the concept that God lives within you, whatever you might imagine God to be. The divine is within you, and the power to change the world into a better place is right there within you. But you have to make a decision to connect into it and to do something with that. And the last thing is that if you want to bring out the best in others, give them the best of who you are and watch them evolve as a result of what gift you've given them. And that would be my messages to them, and of course, be kind to each other.
Those are wonderful messages, Jerry, and they resonate deeply in me. I know. I want to thank you for joining us today, and I truly look forward now to journeying together into the years that come. I may be wearing rosy-colored glasses, but I'm just looking forward to that, that positive future where it's going to be a wonderful world. So let's see how the future unfolds.
I'm looking forward to it with you, Alfred. There are rosy-colored glasses. You just have a rosy outlook, and that's commendable.
Thank you.